Hey, this is Ben. I made this short video to kind of give everybody an idea about the hot dog biz, answer a bunch of questions that I get asked every day. My wife is off camera, is going to kind of keep me on track by asking me questions so that I know where to go next and won't have to say 400 times. So, with that said, let me go ahead and get started.
Well, I've never done this before and need to know where to start.
Well, the easiest and quickest way to start is get online. Google, Yahoo search, any of them, pull up, you'll find a wealth of information online. One of my favorite sites, and I have seen them all, is Hotdogprofits.com. It has a ton of free information, a free mini course. He also sells a full-blown course that is the most thorough I've ever seen in my life. I make nothing off of it. I'm not recommending it because I get something out of it. I'm telling you this because you won't find a better source of information. Pros and cons about the business. It's easy to get started with a very low investment. You can start a hot dog cart business from anywhere from $500 to $700. You may not get the exact cart you want, or it may not be set up the way you want it, but you can always change that later. There's no boss. Unless you're married like me, you won't have to worry about having a boss. It's an all-cash business. That's my favorite part of the business. The other one of my favorite pros about owning a hot dog stand is having free lunch. If I pan the camera down, you'll see that I enjoy the free lunch, and you'll get to eat as much hot dogs as you can stand. The other thing is it's portable. It's a portable business. You're able to move the business anywhere. A conventional business, you'd go find a building, rent it, build it out to suit yourself, invest a ton of money, and hope and pray that it is the right location. I love the hot dog cart business because if I pull up my cart to the wrong location, or it happens to be the wrong day for that location, I can move it. In about 10 minutes, I can have it hooked to my vehicle and be heading down the road. So that is a huge positive side of this business. Get you another cart, lease it out for $100, $125 a day, find the location, set it. You get to write your own schedule. That's one of my other favorite parts of the business, is if I need to go somewhere with my wife, or take a child to the doctor, or have an emergency fishing thing that comes up, I can simply leave and not worry that I'm not going to get paid or get some type of demerit at a normal job because I wasn't at work that day. Some of the cons, and these are cons that I've experienced, there may be a few more, I just don't know what they are, this is still a job, you still own it, you still have to get out of bed, you still have to get off the couch and go out and work it. Cleanup is a pain in the neck unless you have a wife like mine who doesn't mind cleaning the scorched on chili pans. It's probably the worst part of the job is the chili pans. The other drawback is you have to straighten out a bunch of cash every day. Every day you're going to get cash, throw it in your back pocket, it gets crumpled up, you end up having to straighten that out. It's time consuming, pain in the butt. Sometimes I just throw it away because I don't want to deal with it. Last con that I can think of is that you get free hot dogs every day, which I haven't figured out how that's a bad thing, but I'll let you know if it becomes that. But I have heard that people do get tired of eating hot dogs.
Now, once I've made the decision, then what comes next?
Well, once you make the decision that, hey, this is for me, or at least I think it's for me, and I'm going to get started in the business, go to your county health department and ask for the information. They usually will have a packet of information, and go through that information and find out what you need to do and what's going to be required on your cart. I get people calling me and go, Ben, I'd love to buy your cart, but I can't afford it and don't know where to go. I would say that Craigslist is probably the best place to go. There's another website called Crazed List. It's crazedlist.org. And so if you'll go to crazedlist.org, you'll be able to pull up all of Craigslist in the whole entire country, pick the states and counties or whatever you want, and you'll find plenty of hot dog carts. Another option is if you're real handy, or if you're kind of handy, or at least can follow instructions halfway decent, you can build your own cart. There's a website called Hot Dog Profits. I mentioned it earlier. Hotdogprofits.com has a course on building your own cart. I ended up having to sell a lawnmower so I could get my cart. I didn't get the cart I wanted at first, but I was able to upgrade later. So don't worry about settling for less at first. Just get out there and start making money, and you'll see that that even the rattiest little cart you can make a ton of money with and be able to upgrade later in the future. Say, Ben, I can't find a location, don't know where to set up. How do I set up? And the easiest thing to do there is to first go to your city and see if you're allowed in the city limits. Some cities don't allow you in the city limits. Most do, but some don't. Mine doesn't. I found out a little too late that they didn't, so I had to find a location outside the city limits, which discouraged me at first. And then I started looking around and found a factory, huge factory, outside the city limits that ran 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Well, their third shift, the plant has a cafeteria, but third shift doesn't have a cafeteria. It's not open during the third shift. So I went and talked to the personnel manager, and she fell out of her chair backwards, literally was excited to think that we would come out and sell hot dogs and Cokes and stuff to her employees. Well, their lunch shift is from 11 to 1, 11 at night till 1 in the morning. So it's a 2-hour shift. She wanted me there 7 days a week. We didn't want to be there 7 days a week because it's almost impossible raising a family and kids and cats and dogs and chickens and goats. So what we did is we went ahead and put a deal in. So we started Tuesdays and Thursdays. We worked that. Roughly gross income about $940 a week. 32% is the average cost for running a hot dog car. That's your propane, gas. That's everything. But tons of more tips and tricks. If you go to our website at benscarts.com, you get a lot of information.
How much money can I make?
You can make upwards of $100,000. I have friends making $300,000. I have. I know people making $50,000, $60,000. I know a couple that have 2 carts that they operate 4 months out of the year, and that's all they work every year. That's they're on a lake on a pontoon boat. They have 2 carts, and during the summer months, people pull up and get their dogs and snacks and Cokes.
How do you go about getting a location?
Walk into a place that I thought that I might want to be, like a Big Lots or a Pet Boys. I always pitched them kind of like this. I would say, hey, my name is Ben. My wife and I have a small hot dog cart that we operate to make our living. And we're going to be out here in this area next week, and wanted to see how you'd like it if we'd set up here for a couple hours, feed your employees and maybe some of your customers too. I have never gotten a no. Then I would ask them, what are the busiest days? I'd go ahead and find out. I don't want to be at Big Lots 7 days a week if 5 of those days are $200 days and then 2 days a week are $600 days. I just want to work the 2 $600 days. And then you find another location. So that's my easiest thing. There are some cool ways to get other locations, like the factory job I told you about earlier, or possibly even getting we have a school that is a private school that had a ton of students, and they didn't have a cafeteria, so the kids had to bring their lunch. So we proposed to them that we'd bring lunch to them once a week. Well, they ended up eating from us 3 times a week, and it was just a guaranteed income every week from them. We'd bag it up, and they'd send a student over to pick it up from us, and they'd have their lunch, and we'd have money.
Well, I understand we have to have a commissary. What exactly is this?
A commissary is probably one of the questions I get that everybody thinks, well, now I have to have a commissary. I guess I can't do this business. Let me tell you what a commissary is. Most states require it. I don't think I know of any state that doesn't require a commissary. And all that is a restaurant. It's a restaurant that's your home base. It doesn't have to be a restaurant, though. I've learned some little secrets as I went along, and one of them is churches that have kitchens are typically commercial kitchens, even though they don't use them. A lot of churches have a kitchen and don't ever use it, but they still have to have a state health department license. Well, you can go to a preacher and say, listen, we have a small business, and I need a place to be able to store my food and to clean my pans. Most of them will say yes. I've not had anybody turn me down on a commissary, even when I was putting carts in other counties that I wasn't even going to be running. I found the commissaries ahead of time. The other thing I did is I found out that, like your volunteer fire departments, I've got a guy that's got one of my carts. He's at the National Guard. He's a member, and they let him use his as a commissary. Now, if you're not going to be storing food there, don't even tell them that. So I don't store food at my commissary. I buy food as I need it, and I move on. I do prep at the site, so I don't have to use their kitchen really, except to clean 4 or 5 pans. You could go to, if you have a buddy in the restaurant business, or you have somebody you know that knows somebody that's in the restaurant business, you could ask them. They are usually more than helpful, and if you just explain to them what you're doing, that you're not going to be creating competition for them, and you can usually use a restaurant. I've got one commissary that is a restaurant, and then I've got 2 that, well, one's a church and one's a VFW, which is Veterans of Foreign Wars. It's just a community center, and they allowed me to use that as a commissary. If you have any questions, please email me. I'll try to answer anything anybody asks me. I've got videos posted on how I got started if you go to the website. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.